Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us. Mali's president and prime minister have been ousted by the officer who led last year's coup and became vice president of an interim government. Colonel Assimi Goita says President Ba Ndao and Prime Minister Mokhtar Ouani failed in their duties and were seeking to sabotage the country's transition. They were arrested hours after a government reshuffle which saw 2 senior army officers replaced. Colonel Goita says although elections will still go ahead next year as planned. Let's go live to Mali and speak with Mohamed Salaha. He's a freelance journalist in Mali. Mohamed, thank you so much. Let's begin with what people know as triggered the arrest of the president by the military.
As you mentioned in the title, so the result of the new cabinet, when 2 key persons of the former junta, led by Assimi Goita, who is in charge of vice president of the transition, and he is the president of CNSP. CNSP is the group of military who deposed the former president Ibrahim Boubacar Keita. So when the president and the prime minister took out the composition of the new government, 2 key persons of the junta were not member of that government, especially the colonel minister of defense and another colonel who is minister of security. So this is where the frustration came from, and once those frustrations came out, the former junta took the president and his prime minister to Kati, which is a town, garrison town located in 15 kilometers of Bamako, and which also is the base of the former CNSP. So since yesterday, the president and his prime minister are detained between the hands of the junta. So the vice president now says to power again and say that the president has violated the charter of the transition by settle a new government without consulting him. So that's why they arrested the president and the prime minister.
Does that mean that the military has been speaking to the people of Mali? Is this the reason they are giving to everybody? Before they arrest the president and the president, the prime minister, and other collaborators, they didn't give any reason. As soon as the composition of the government were out, confusion were down, and the military went directly to the prime minister's house and the president's house, taking them by force to their military base, which is in Kati. They didn't give any reason for those arrestations. And after today, the vice president Assimi Goita have sent his communication advisor on national TV to read a statement. And this statement, the communicator showed that the president have violated according to the statement, the president had violated the charter of the transition, and they did not consult the vice president, and that's why I say what they said in the statement. The vice president saw himself as obliged to act to preserve the transitional charter and defend the republic, and blast out of their prerogation the president and the prime minister as in support position until next year's election. And so when the president now, appoints ministers or another government without the military, they see it as a violation of the transitional charter. At this point, what is happening in Mali right now?
Okay,
this is why the vice president say it's not. He said it's a violation of the charter, but in the charter it's not written down that the president should consult the vice president or the prime minister should consult the vice president. It's not written, but it's according to the vice president that is a violation. Coming back to the current situation, people are going to their business, people are doing their daily life, but the situation is confused. The situation is very confused at Kati, which the president and the prime minister are detained because security have been reinforced at the entrance of the camp, Sundiata Keita camp in Kati, and especially around the house of Assimi Goita, who is now the strong man, between brackets, the strong man of Mali. When we come back to Bamako, the capital city, yeah, people are going to their business, but since yesterday night, you've called for protests against the situation, against how the military are doing now, taking the power, how they arrested the president and the prime minister. They call for protests against that. That's why yesterday night some youth were gathered at Independence Place, and also this morning some youth were gathered at the same place, but the police came to disperse them. It's important to notice that people are against the current situation, how the military are doing, how the military want to take the power. People call the military to go back to the barrack, and also international community condemn it, and they call for the release of the president and the prime minister. France has condemned it, United Nations has condemned it, ECOWAS, African Union, France, everybody is condemning the way those military are trying to put hands on a whole country for personal interest. And now a delegate, ECOWAS, which is a West Africa Regional Board delegation, is in Mali currently trying to see clearly what happened, why those military took this action, and why they want to do. Hopefully, ECOWAS will find a solution to this crisis which Malians do not need.
Tell me about your own experience as a journalist and the other journalists who are there in Mali. At this point, is it free? Is there free press in Mali? Are people allowed, are media organizations allowed to cover what is happening the way that professional journalists should? Or is there some sort of restriction when it comes to how you do your work? Hello, Mohammed. Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, please go ahead.
Journalists are free to cover the situation, but the problem is we do not have access to information. The military do not communicate because the situation, they want to master the situation, they want to control everything. By starting communicating on the situation, some information might go out that they want to control now. But journalists are going to Kati, but they do not have access to information. But I think journalists have freedom to cover, because it's not like they took guns against journalism. No, we have freedom to cover, but the challenge is that they do not communicate, they do not give information at this stage. But hopefully in the coming hour, we will see clear in this situation.
You told me that people are going about their business in Bamako, in Kati, in the town, people in Mali generally, people are going about their business. What I want to find out is that, what is a typical picture like in Mali? Do you have the military still in charge of government, maybe government buildings, or do you have civilians just at the ministries, for example, at the seat of government? What is happening there?
life is normal in Bamako. Even in Kati, which is the garrison city, life is normal. It's not like the previous coup when the former junta deposed the former president Ibrahim Boubacar Keita in August 2020. No, life is normal. We cannot see militaries in the streets, around the public building, around the national channel. No, life is normal. People are going on their business. That shows everything is concentrated inside Kati, which is the garrison, and in a special area, which the president, the prime minister, some collaborator, the junta are there. So life is normal. There is no fear in the city. Everything is going normally. So you can see that Malians just want the situation to end.
And have the people of Mali heard from the family members of the president and the prime minister, or anybody close to them? Have they been speaking to Malians?
United Nations mission in Mali, MINUSMA, is negotiating, trying to get access to detain the president, prime minister, and other collaborator, because they want to know in which condition they are detained. So we have information that one of them had access to its doctor for medical reason, and also human rights defensor have given a statement, a press statement, show their inquiry about the condition of detention. They call for normal condition of detention. At this moment, they are not free for their movements. I mean, they detain the president, the prime minister, and other collaborators. They are between the hand of the junta. 24 hours, around 24 hours, but they are not free. But United Nations is still trying to see how they can get access to them, and hopefully ECOWAS will also get access to them and exchange with them about the condition of detention, and hopefully how to end this situation.
Mohammed, I'll say a very big thanks to you. We really appreciate you breaking down what's happening to us. And thankfully, like you say, life is back to normal. You don't have military presence on your roads there, which sounds good. But hopefully this matter will be resolved amicably. And between now and tomorrow, I'm sure that the AU, the UN, all the agencies that are mediating would have found a solution. And hopefully we can come back to you for good news. Mohammed Salaha is a freelance journalist. He's joining us all the way from Mali, where he's giving us details of what's happening. Mohammed, thank you.